no state officer or public servant shall participate in public contributions or harambee going forward.
Mimi mwenyewe nitatoa milioni 20 kwanza. Ndio. Sawa sawa. Basi mtaanza kupanga hiyo maneno wakati unasemekana mnajenga. Alafu mimi nimekubali pia nitakuja tufanye harambee pamoja. Nataka mnisikize vizuri. Na kwa hiyo harambee niende nipangane mimi na marafiki zangu tutafute milioni 100 kuleta.
Hello everyone, my name is Jackton Otieno and our topic of discussion today is just the concern for the government from our fellow Kenyans, how they are viewing this matter. They are concerned about this because many Kenyans are living in a destitute situation and government is funding churches. Do you think it is necessary? Let me get to hear from our fellow colleagues and I hope you are going to enjoy this session. Thank you and welcome.
God gave his only begotten Son so that today we can equally be saved. And because God gave as an example, we are going to give in keeping so that the word of God can reach others who have not known God. And we are going to serve God through our giving. So we have absolutely no apologies to make as we give to God, because God gave first.
The issue, I know the president has said he will not stop funding churches no matter how the people complaining. He has actually insinuated that there are people who are not for God, that there are people, maybe they are evil, that is why they are complaining. But I would like to make things clear from my side. I see that people are genuinely concerned, especially the youth. You can see a lot of youth unemployment. He's talking about he has catered for that in the housing project, although that one, not every youth can do mjengo work. So he should be more concerned about how to improve maybe the opportunities for the youth, and also sticking to the budget, sticking to the manifesto which he gave Kenyans when he was campaigning. I think that was never in the manifesto, and I think it's not really a priority as such for the government to be looking for sponsoring churches. Yeah, even the churches themselves, the church elders, the leaders, themselves, they have, especially the Catholics and even the AIC Archbishop, they actually were against any donations or any talk from politicians. So I don't know why he's even going against the churches leaders themselves who don't want those donations. They don't want those political forums. So why can't he just respect the church's demands? Because even the church knows that the more a lot of chaos. So why would he keep doing that if he's seeing the consequences are negative? Yeah, you know, he might be having a positive intention to give to God and all that, but he's out of touch with reality on the ground of how people are suffering, and this suffering of the youth and people is actually what is making them to go against this initiative that he is doing, you know, because they are seeing that they don't have jobs, they are learned people, they have gone to school, they don't have opportunities. But what are you doing? You are just pouring money in churches, pouring money in churches. See it as genuine giving to God, because if it was genuine giving to God, he would even sometimes come down to the slums, come down to the ordinary people, because there is such a disconnect between the political class and the ordinary common man.
So in a nutshell, it is a form of a campaign.
Yes, in my opinion, he is actually buying the votes of, because once he gives those donations, now in his mind, he's also expecting votes to come from the congregants of those churches and the leaders, because they're very influential. And as we know, Kenya, the biggest religion is the Christians. Yeah, so that is the leading religion with most subscribers. So the more he campaigns in those churches, the more he gives offering in the promise, beliefs in God and faith. You know, faith is something very deep. Yeah, so I don't think it should be politicized as such. Actually, I think the church should not have politicians talking or doing big functions there at all.
So it is good, but he could just balance.
It is good. It depends on what lens you are looking at it from. Yeah, because if it was good, why a majority of Kenyans demonstrating against it, taking again the case of the winners church over there? You know, if it was good, people would be normally the majority of the people would be cooperating or agreeing with what is being done. But what did we see there? We saw youth coming out in their number to oppose, to say, actually, these funds, even there are there are two issues. There's the issue of the amount that is given. It is not just any amount. 20 million is a lot of money, you know. So there's the issue of the amount. Then there's the issue why that specific church is being given all of that money, you see. So if we were to rethink this out, even these what the president would have done, he could have come down to the level of the youth congregants of these churches. Those youth, every church has a youth program, yeah. So he could even come to the youth directly and even sponsor some of their projects and do like that. But instead of just giving it directly to the...
Maybe to you personally, does it have any impact in your life?
Personally, it does not impact my life as such. As personally, I wouldn't consider myself very religious, but I am spiritual. There's a difference. So what do I mean by spiritual? I mean, I'd rather, instead of going to that church and giving that donation, I practice like practical faith. So what I do, if I find someone, maybe a beggar on the street, or a small child who hasn't eaten lunch and maybe they have family issues, that is the person I can give to my 50 shillings, my 200 shillings, out of good faith, when no camera is rolling, when nobody is looking, you see. You know, in church you are giving, everyone is seeing you are giving. It's like you are showing off, you know. And at the end of the day, that money, how sure are you it goes to the intended purpose of helping the needy? Most times it goes to the pockets of the pastors and the preachers over there. So for me personally, what I normally do, I practice my faith by actually helping someone who is in need. So I see that I've really genuinely given out something as offering or as tithe. That is how I practice my own spirituality, yes.
Okay.
So I would much rather even somebody like Ruto, if he follows my example, instead of going to the church itself and giving the pastor that money, because how many times do we see that money actually coming to good use? Huge problem of people being displaced from riparian land. You could go and help those people. There are so many people who are even crying about the state of the economy, how prices are hitting them hard. He could try and find ways of helping those people and people who are actually in need, instead of going directly to the pastor.
And through your understanding, or maybe your point of view, why do you think he only major on the churches?
In my point of view, I think it is a political tactic, which he actually began when he was deputy president. He used to campaign a lot in churches. So for me, even that faith that he shows us, that he demonstrates, I don't want to dispute somebody's faith, but according to me, it has been like a political move to secure the votes of the faithful in the churches and all that. So
makanisa yana ushawishi mkubwa katika jamii, na mara nyingi wanasiasa hutafuta uungaji mkono kutoka kwa viongozi wa kanisa.
Yeah, personally, what's my take when it comes to the government funding churches, or what the president is trying to do? I personally think that in one way it's right, and another way is not right. Why? If a Tor is giving his tithe, there is no need of announcing what he's saying, since the Bible tells us that whatever you give, your left hand should not know. So I think if a Tory gives and not announcing, it's right, because it's supporting whatever the people of God are doing. But now it becomes a challenge when it's really announcing, yet we don't see these funds helping in the medical field or schools. The students are struggling and the rest. Thank you.
Yes, after going through the corners and taking the views of people, I've got a lot of concern. People are saying it is not bad to fund churches, but it is good to balance the economy of Kenya and the church. As you know, the economy of Kenya is concerned